Let's take a look at some racing news now. And we start off with young Damien Lane, one of Melbourne's more promising apprentices. He suffered a fall of track work this morning, which has put him in hospital. Not a great thing for young Damien, that's for sure and certain. From what we understand, he was thrown off a horse at track work this morning and was knocked unconscious when he hit the ground. Now, he was taken to nearby Footscray Hospital, and doctors have decided to keep Damien in there overnight for observation. Now, Damien is most unlikely to take his 4 rides at Sporting Bet Park tomorrow. Really promising young rider is Damien Lane, but he's had a tumble at track work this morning. He was knocked unconscious, and when these kinds of things happen, all precautions are taken. So young Damien, we hope he's on the mend. He's in hospital as we speak. It doesn't seem like he'd be right to take his rides for tomorrow, but one of the gun young riders in Victoria coming to grief at track work this morning, and we hope that he recovers quickly from that particular fall. Now, Sincero is back at the trials this morning with some Rosehill barrier trials. A nice trial win at Rosehill Gardens this morning. There were some important sort of barrier trials there. So let's have a look now at Sincero's nice hit out at Rosehill Gardens this morning.
That's the Bell, who's out deep on the track, and then Honorius and Sincero, followed by Class, and Liberal's Night is settling at the rear. So a Dasham at the 800, led by a length and a half. Zastabel's being ridden along to try and get in from a wideish alley. Sincero third, followed by Honorius. Liberal's Night is second last, and the imported galloper Class back on the inside at the rear. At the 500, and Dasham's getting a pretty soft time in front, led by over a length on Zastabel. Sincero in a nice spot third, and then a length of Honorius, followed by Class and Liberal's Night. So there's been no change in the order from once they've settled down, and as they turn for home, it's Ardasham in front. There's plenty of room for Sincero to come after it, and he's now niggered along to go after Ardasham, and they've sprinted away from Zastabel, Honorius, Liberal's Night, and then Class. It's Ardasham in front, Sincero on the outside, steadily getting on terms. It's Ardasham and Sincero, with Sincero under a little bit more pressure, going on to win it. Sincero beat Ardasham. Now third, Class came on the scene quickly late and is in the photo there with Zastabel, and then Honorius and Liberal's Night.
The quality gallopers going around there, Dasham, who is pretty much rock-solid race fit at the moment, but Sincero, good galloper. Nathan Berry aboard this morning. Steve Farley plans to run him in the Memsey Stakes in Melbourne first up. He'll go straight to Melbourne to kick off his campaign. It is weather pending. Let's see how the weather plays out down there. But Steve Farley happy with the way Sincero trials at Rosehill Gardens this morning. Touching on more trials, and nice to see Rangi Rangdu back at the trials this morning. Is a class act, we know that. And I'm sure Chris Waller has some nice spring targets in mind for this terrific galloper. It's been a great stalwart for the stable. Let's have a look now at Rangi Rangdu's Rosehill trial this morning.
They jumped pretty well. Rangi Rangdu the best out, joined quickly by D&G, who'll stride to the front, and then Ever the Same. Emotional Circus followed now on the improve is Aeronautical. Shootout back next, followed by Streamer, and then Einstein, and Light of the Night restrained to last. D&G led 600 out, about 3/4 in front of Aeronautical, maybe a little bit more. In fact, Rangi Rangdu third, then Ever the Same. Shootout back fifth on the rail. A length Emotional Circus, followed by Streamer, Einstein, and Light of the Night at the rear. Strung out over about 10 or 12 as they turn for home, where D&G brings them for home by about 2. On in second spot, Aeronautical, and then Rangi Rangdu. About 3 to Ever the Same. Shootout down to the inside, and then Emotional Circus. Streamer at the back of the field having an easy time, but D&G's got them off the bit and has a winning break. Aeronautical in second spot, but D&G beat Aeronautical. Rangi Rangdu third, and then Ever the Same and Emotional Circus, followed by Shootout, Light in the Night, Einstein, and Streamer at the back.
Big names there in that particular heat 5 from Rosehill this morning. Good to see Aeronautical back in training for Lionel Cohen. He's a nice horse. Rangi Rangdu in third, not out to break any records, and Streamer and those kinds of horses back in the ruck. But that was heat 5 from Rosehill this morning, and a leisurely hit out by the class act in Rangi Rangdu. Let's look now at heat 10 from Rosehill Gardens this morning, and this featured the really nice Darley 2-year-old, now a 3-year-old. His name is Epaulet, one of the last season's better 2-year-olds, like was Raceway. Let's have a look now at heat 10 from Rosehill Gardens, featuring the smart Epaulet and Raceway.
College missed it. Cowarth Park the best out. Epaulet and Raceway hopped out quickly, and then Kyria, who's easing back to settle down in fourth spot. Then further back was Sabu going up on the outside there as they settle down fully into stride. Galabea, followed by Shawano second last, and Talage at the rear. Raceway led narrowly from Kyria as they sought their order out. Cowarth Park left out 3 wide. Then Epilep fourth on the inside. Galabea striding forward but deep around Saboog, Shawano and Tallage at the rear. Turning for home, and Raceway with a narrow advantage here from on the outside Kyria. Epilep stalking the speed. Just behind them, getting into the clear now as Raceway sprinted, and then Cowarth Park and Saboog running on. So Raceway in front of the 200. Epilep's out after it about a length and a half away, and then Kyria. Raceway, hands and heels. Epilep given a cup with the whip coming at it, and Epilep's got the momentum. Will get up and beat Raceway. Third goes to Shawano, who has snuck along the fence to edge out Saboog, and then Kyria, followed by Cowarth Park. And then further back Galabea, and last in Tallage.
Yeah, a couple of nice 3-year-olds there. Wouldn't be surprised if either or line up in a Golden Rose, something like that, if they can get there in time. I dare say guineas are on the radars for both gallopers. Epaulet giving a nice hit out of the final stages, gets the better of Raceway. 2 really smart colts going about their business at Rosehill Gardens this morning. Likewise at Moonee Valley today, we had a track hit out from the very good galloper from the Darren Smith stable in Atomic Force. Well, we know the class of this fellow. He's just a tough galloper for the Dynamic Syndications team. And look, he looks to be, he's in the nominations for Moonee Valley this weekend. And by all reports, after the hit out this morning, it looks like he may well go that way. You'd think he'd get a pretty decent weight for the race that he's entered in for the weekend. But look, he's a class act. He's a Group 1 winner in New Zealand. Good, tough sprinter. And I suppose with horses like Black Caviar and those kinds of gallopers, that's a high bar, of course, not going around in the spring. I suppose there's a little bit of a gap for some of these other sprinters to make their way through. 60 kilos for the weekend he's been allotted. Big, tough galloper, big, strong fellow. And that was Atomic Force having a nice hit out at Moonee Valley this morning. Well, you know that spring is well and truly here when Peter Moody has great chances around the place. The Moody stable have good chances in both Melbourne and Sydney this weekend. And at track work this morning in Melbourne, Bruce Clark spoke to Peter Moody.
Pete, light team for you on Saturday, but in the Mackenzie, Liberty Rocks down the run. Haven't seen since running an excellent second in the Talented. What's the prep been like? Yeah, no, he's prepped up nice. He had a good break back end of the autumn, and he's prepped up well all winter. So, hopeful that he might be headed down a Caulfield Guineas path or something like that. So, nice race for him to resume in, and he's trialled well here at home. So, no, looking forward to getting him back on track. Caulfield Guineas colours on, isn't he, Liberty Rock? Yeah, same as Achiever, so probably follow a similar type path. Just hope he's got the same ability, but at this point in time he's done well. No public trials for him, but is jump outs here good enough? Yeah, no, he's a bold going type of horse, puts himself on or about the speed, and we're very pleased with the way he's going. Moonee Valley 200, is that the right race to get going, to be a winning chance? I mean, would you say to the punters is a winning chance on Saturday? I'd think so, without knowing what the opposition might be. It's a hard 1200 first go to the Valley, and he's had an extra couple of weeks. He probably could have gone to the races in the past couple of weeks, but decided to wait for this race. I'm thinking that the 1200 would be ideally suited. Hugel, we know plenty about Hugel, but we still haven't seen the best of Hugel. Could that be this campaign? Well, he's been gelded. He's matured up nicely. He's prepped up mostly in Sydney and trialled at Randwick a few weeks back, and I think the horse that beat him in the trial actually won at Rosehill last Saturday. His work was good up there last week, and his work was good here this morning, so we've kept him thinking like he's kept us thinking. So on his day, he's got the ability to certainly win this type of race and much better. So we decided we'd take him back to ratings races, try and build a bit of confidence, and then hopefully work him back to Stakes Company. He's Group 1 placed, and he's got that ability, but we just need him to get his mind wrapped around it. At Warwick Farm on the weekend, you had Lights of Heaven on for the Warwick Stakes. What's happening in Sydney? Lights of Heaven and Power Rally both worked solid at Rosehill yesterday morning on the course proper. So at this point in time, Lights of Heaven will run the Warwick Stakes, Power Rally and the Mayor's Race, and they'll both progress through to probably mile and then mile and a quarter races in Sydney in the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks before returning back to Melbourne. Lights of Heaven, would you say, is a spring horse, or you have to prove that? Yet to prove it. She's had 3 campaigns, and her 2 successful campaigns have been in the autumn. Last spring she disappointed, but she was still quite immature, so hopefully maturity takes her a long way this spring, but sometimes these mares can get a bit seasonal in the way they race. Hopefully not the case with her, and we're not thinking that at this point. We're putting down last spring to maturity, but time will tell. 7 furlong Saturday, she couldn't win that, but looking forward to getting her out to a mile and beyond in the following few runs.
At spring, when the Peter Moody stable have the big guns rolling out, and that certainly happens in both Melbourne and Sydney this weekend. And that is our TVN news.